What's up, people? Welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we're back with some massive breaking news surrounding the club we all love. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get on into it. So this one is a little bit of a surprise. This is a name that we have spoken about a bit on the channel. And it is Amadou Onana, the Everton 21-year-old midfielder. Somebody who I really like. I do think we were linked to him prior to him joining Everton. There was some talks of us going in for this player. Obviously, he plays for Belgian national team. Really good player. He had a really good season for Everton last year, even though they obviously did terribly. Came from Lille, 35 million euros they paid. And the story that's coming out this afternoon is coming from Jacob Steinberg, who is a reporter for the Guardian, and he is reporting that apparently Manchester United have made an official approach about a deal for Amadou Onana from Everton. He goes on to say that Ten Hag has turned his focus to bringing in a commanding central midfielder, and he says that United are yet to make any progress in their pursuit of Sofian Amrabat. He then goes on to say that Manchester United need more height, but Erik Ten Hag does not want to compromise on the quality. United believe that Amadou Onana is more of a destroyer and is good enough on the ball. So very interesting, that one. It goes on to say that Everton are reluctant to losing Onana, who joined from Lille for £33 million plus add-ons last summer, and insist they are not under any financial pressure to make a sale. The Belgian is a key player for Sean Dyche, and the club hope to hold on to the player for at least one more year. Now, this is the bit that's interesting. It says it would take at least a bid of £50 million to convince Everton to sell Onana. They would be entitled to demand even more, given that top midfielders have been moving for eye-watering sums of money this summer. It goes on to say then, Everton's stance is that Onana's value will continue to grow if he has a good season, and it is understood they do not need to sell him in order to finance a move for a striker. So obviously, as we all know, Everton are in the market for a striker. It does say as well, McTominay could be sold if another midfielder arrives. West Ham obviously had a £30 million bid turned down. So, you know what? I don't see this as him or Amrabat. I see this as McTominay's replacement. I think Onana would be the perfect replacement for Scott McTominay. I think you go and get Sofian Amrabat to replace Fred. Obviously, Donny looks like he'll go as well. You get rid of Donny, you get rid of Fred. You bring in Sofian Amrabat as their replacement. You then sell Scott McTominay to West Ham, 45 million, and then you go and get Onana from Everton. I think this is a really clever deal if we can get this done. 21 years of age. Really good player. He has a lot of attributes to his game that I think Erik Ten Hag would really appreciate. He's good on the ball. He's obviously more of a defensive midfielder. He's more defensive minded than Scott McTominay, but he's very tall as well, which I know Erik Ten Hag likes to have in his squad. I remember last season he played a few games with people just to try and bring in like a tall, powerful squad. He's 6'4", Onana. I think this is a signing, if we can get it done, that we should definitely be looking at. There is a question I wanted to ask you that I wanted to throw into this community. If you had to pick between Onana, 21 years of age, versus Sofian Amrabat, 26 years of age, who'd you go for if you can only get one of the other? I think it's a really difficult one. I think ultimately I'm going to cop out of this and say we need to get whatever Erik Ten Hag wants. And if he wants Amrabat, you get Amrabat. But by way of who's got the highest ceiling, I think Onana's got a higher ceiling. I think he probably is a better player. Obviously, he had a good season at Everton in a very poor side, and Manchester United were reportedly interested in him already last summer. So if we could get Onana as a replacement for Scott McTominay, I think that would be an incredible bit of business. If you then got Amrabat to replace Fred, honestly, that would be absolutely unbelievable. Imagine a midfield three. I know it'd be very defensive, but imagine you're going away to a really difficult ground, right? One of those grounds like last season where we lost 7-0, Liverpool, right? And you had the options of having Onana, Amrabat and Casemiro as kind of three midfield options. I'm not saying you start all three of them, but just to know that you have those types of options available, it would really help the way that Erik Ten Hag wants to play. It would give him a lot more security, knowing that he can push players forward and knowing that they are defensive minded, because that is obviously what Erik Ten Hag needs with his very high line, his attacking football. So I think this is an interesting one. I am happy that we've finally been linked to this guy. I know Fabrizio had said a couple of days ago that it was Amrabat, Onana, and there was someone else on the list that I can't remember off the top of my head. But ultimately, Manchester United had 3 players on their list. I think it was Goretzka, Onana, and Sofian Amrabat. And of those 3, I would say Amrabat and Onana would be my top 2 picks. I like Goretzka, but I think he has dropped a lot. I think his wages would be ridiculous. Whereas Onana is somebody who Erik ten Hag can develop. He can turn into whatever Erik ten Hag wants. So for me, this is a definite yes. And if this is somebody who would come in as a replacement for Scott McTominay, I 100% back this. And I 100% think Manchester United should get this one done. So we'll have to wait and see how these talks go. But as we said, Manchester United are now in talks with Everton about this deal. The article doesn't clarify whether it's him or Amrabat. It doesn't really specify that. But if you want my opinion, which you might not, you know, some of you might care, some of you might not. I think this is honestly just a replacement for Scott McTominay. I think you'd look to get Onana in, agree a deal, and then they'd agree to sell McTominay to West Ham. I think that's what's going to happen. That's my opinion on it. But do let me know in the comment section what you think about this story. Are you excited about the potential signing of Amadou Onana? And do let me know if you'd prefer Onana or Sofyan Amrabat, because I always like to see what you guys think. Before you leave, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.